This is Dude to Bet Sports.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Dude to Bet Sports. Another Wednesday for you as we kick off another big week of sports, but we also have horse racing this week on the show as well. Once again, with the big news of the Preakness Stakes coming up on Saturday, and we got big news this morning. Let's just get right to it. I'll just start it off right now. Muth has been scratched from the 149th Preakness Stakes. He was the 8-5 morning line favorite. He will not run. He has been scratched. Number 4, Muth spiked a 103 fever this morning, I guess, or maybe it was Monday morning, and has been scratched from the race. Papa Dude, the morning line favorite, out of the Preakness, leaving us with a field of 8. What are your thoughts?
Well, it has messed everything up, right? We kind of just had a brief discussion before we went on the air, and it's changed everything. I mean, to me, this was a fairly easy pick. You know, this horse is well rested. And now you got to just completely revamp what you were thinking. So, yeah, it's really, you know, I haven't really had time to sit down and really analyze it as well as I want to, but I got a couple of ideas of which way to go. So I'm sure we're going to probably discuss the same things as we go through this today.
Yeah, we will discuss that later on in the show, but it is some just crazy news. You didn't really see this one coming. I know last year when we had all those scratches for the Kentucky Derby, you kind of saw them coming. You know, you heard kind of the rumor mill churning a little bit, and you thought, well, okay, maybe it is going to happen. This one just kind of seems like out of the blue. This is a horse that the last time we saw him was beating Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner, by over 6 lengths, a dominant Arkansas Derby performance. So, yeah, it's really something to see Muth out of this race now. Like I said, even though Mystic Dan was the Kentucky Derby winner and is going for the second leg of the Triple Crown, he was the second choice behind Muth, and rightfully so when you look at that head-to-head matchup.
Well, you know, because Muth he would have been one of the favorites in the Kentucky Derby had he ran.
He may have been the favorite.
He may have. So yeah, that's a problem. I mean, that was just something that happened. Yeah, he beat him by 6 lengths. Really won the Arkansas Derby pretty handily. Legitimate favorite going into this one, well rested. And just spikes a fever, and that happens. I don't know there's any controversy to that or at all. I think that just happens.
Yep. No, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's anything to it. Probably just didn't ship very well. Sometimes you see that a horse might, a day or two after they ship in, they spike a fever, and that happens. Beholder was a horse that used to do that. She'd kind of get a little bit sick when they'd ship her somewhere, and she missed the Breeders' Cup one year at Keeneland because of that as well. So it's not an uncommon thing. I mean, it's not a common thing either, obviously, but it's not something that is real surprising. And hopefully they can get him back. 103 sounds kind of high to me. So hopefully,
well, I think in a human that's high. I don't know about a horse.
Right? Yeah, I don't know that either. But it seems kind of high. I think he's not feeling too well. I'm sure if his temperature is that high. So once again, Muth scratched out of the 149th Preakness. Okay, let's go on to analyzing the race now. Okay. We've got that news out of the way. And we've got a field of now 8. I put it up on the screen now if you're watching. And if you're listening, a field of 8. The 4 is scratched out of it. That is Muth. So we'll have 1 through 3 and then 5 through 9. We'll just go through them one by one. It won't take near as long as the Kentucky Derby. Drawing the rail is Mugatu. Papa Dude, any interest in Mugatu?
No. Do you have any interest in him?
No, not at all. Okay. Number 2 is Uncle Heavy. He was the winner of the Withers Stakes, and then a distant fifth in the Wood Memorial. Any thoughts on that?
More. I like him more than I do the 1. He does have a couple of wins. One has 3. I don't think so. Could get up and get a piece of it, maybe. But not a good Wood Memorial, that's for sure. So
no,
I don't really like him.
Yeah, I don't either. I do like Irad Ortiz Jr. gets a board.
Yeah.
You'd think maybe he could have found a better mount. I don't know. I don't like him.
Yeah, that's surprising, isn't
it? Kevin B chimes in. So I was wondering about this. From my family owning barrel racing horses, I think 99 to 101 is a normal temp. So 103, yeah, that's fairly high.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going here. Number 3 is Catching Freedom, 6-1 on the morning line here. Winner of the Louisiana Derby, winner of the Smarty Jones Stakes, 4th, only beaten a length and 3/4 last time out in the Kentucky Derby. Thoughts on him?
I really like him. This is one that I really like. I went back and watched the Kentucky Derby twice. He got shuffled back in the pack for most of the race. He then got to the inside coming down the stretch, and I'm telling you, he was running almost as good as the two that almost caught Mystic Dan.
Yep.
So he was running really well. He only lost by length and 3/4. He was right there. A little shorter this time. I like this horse. The problem is, what does he have left? That's the issue. Running back 2 weeks later after running so hard in that race, he was 13th, 6th, 5th, and 4th, and was closing very well. That's a concern. So I could see this horse winning this race, though. Can't you?
Yeah, I think he's one of the classiest horses in the field without any doubt. And the 2 weeks rest is a little bit of an issue. We'll talk about it for the next 3 horses we talk about. So it is going to be a little bit of an issue. I did see, and I'll shout out Curtis Manlow for this. I did see an interview with Brad Cox that he tipped me off on, and he said, "Hey, with the Louisiana Derby being March 23rd and all that space between the Louisiana Derby and the Kentucky Derby." Brad Cox said, "Hey, I think it helps kind of rolling them back in 2 weeks when they had that gap in between those 2 races." So I thought that was interesting, and I think he shows up here with a big time shot, no question about it. I think he's a really classy horse, and you can kind of depend on him. You kind of know what he's going to do.
Yeah,
it might not be good enough, but you kind of know he is going to come with that run there. Yeah, so. Number 4, obviously scratched. That is Muth. He's out, and that will leave us now with the morning line favorite. Will now be number 5, Mystic Dan. I don't know if they'll adjust the morning lines, but you're probably looking like 8-5 if you want to support Mystic Dan here. Of course, winner of the Kentucky Derby, looking for 2 in a row and looking for the second leg of the Triple Crown. Number 5, Mystic Dan. What are your thoughts on him?
I don't know that I can pick him. I don't know. I don't have a good reason. I mean, he ran great. He had a perfect trip, in my opinion. He just had that one little bump as he was coming down the stretch that he squeezed through there to stay on the rail. Very impressive. It did not bother him. It didn't throw him off. He got squeezed pretty good, and he kept running. So there's again, you got to look at 2 weeks. Can he duplicate it? It's only an 8-horse field. He's in a good post position. Will he get to the inside and do that again? I think he can.
He probably will.
Yeah, I think he will. So, if he gets the same kind of thing, will he have the juice after 2 weeks to go do this again? He was slowing down a little bit down the stretch, but I just think those other horses were just. I didn't feel like he was just hitting the wall. Did you? I thought he was still running good. The other 2 were just closing very, very fast.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little of both, I think. I don't think he was finishing with just a ton of energy, but he wasn't like, stopping either, because if he was stopping, he would have got beat.
Yeah.
Look, you mentioned it. The trip is the thing. Mugatu, Uncle Heavy, Catching Freedom. He totally can outbreak those 3, right? Yeah. Those are the 3 horses to his inside. So it's horse racing. Anything can happen. He could stumble out of the gate and be last. You never know. But if he comes out of the gate okay, I think they'll just ride him, get him right there to that rail again, and do the exact same thing. Why would you not? And I think
not. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that I
think that's the strategy, and that's what I would do. There's no reason to change any of it. So I'm not going to bet him at 8-5.
Yeah.
I don't feel that good about him.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the big thing. How low is this horse going to go odds wise? And it's probably going to be pretty low. Yeah. I don't know if he'll be sub even money or not, but I do think he's going to get bet pretty hard now. He fits. And if he runs a Kentucky Derby race, it's, they're going to have to really run well to beat him. There's no doubt about that. No doubt. So we'll see what happens. Also, another thing that really goes to Mystic Dan's favor, and Kevin B mentioned it in a comment earlier, There's a lot of rain in the forecast here
Yes.
for Baltimore. We know now, look, he's done it over a fast track too now. He won the Kentucky Derby over a fast track. So you can't really call him just an off track type of horse.
Nope.
But we've seen perhaps the best race of his career in the mud at Oaklawn, how good he looks. So moisture in the track's not going to hurt him whatsoever in this race.
Yeah, I think, he's, since Muth is out, it really increased his odds to get this second leg. It really does.
Big time. Yep.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Gotta include him on the tickets. It's just hard for me to bet him at 8-5. I don't want to call that a fluke in the Kentucky Derby because it really wasn't.
No.
He ran a great race. He did.
I compare it a lot to last year with Mage. I can't really call what Mage did a fluke because it was really impressive. Like a fluke to me is like Rich Strike, like the pace melts down and he's weaving and out. Like Mystic Dan and Mage both, they just ran huge races, but nothing like weird happened for them to win. They just got it done.
Yeah.
Does that mean they're great horses and they're going to be great horses moving forward? No, but on that day, you're right. They certainly they earned it. All right, let's go to the D. Wayne Lucas pair here. Number 6, Seize the Gray, coming off a win in the Pat Day Mile. What do you think about Seize the Gray and his chances?
Well, I don't think too much. I mean, never has really done anything. The mile. This is not a mile. So I don't like him that well. Do you?
Not really.
No, I don't think he can win.
The Pat Day Mile was a very weak running of the Pat Day Mile. He give him a lot of credit. I mean, he won and he ended up clearing him there at the end. Lucas was kind of saying that he didn't know that this horse really wanted to go that far. And then, here he is in this one.
Yeah.
The Bluegrass, he wasn't anywhere to really be found. The Jeff Ruby Stakes, he ran okay in that race. I mean,
I won the allowance at Oaklawn by a length.
Yeah. I mean, there's worse 15-1s you can play. He's not really for me. But
I think the question is, do you like him better than the next 15-1?
Well, on the other, that'll be number 7, Just Steel, also 15-1. Now he exits the Kentucky Derby where he got in a pace duel and just totally quit. Yeah. But 2 races back, he was only 2 lengths behind Muth, and Muth, if he was here, would have been 8-5, bet down to price 6-5. So if you liked Muth, do you like Just Steel a little bit? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't. Got a jockey change. I think that's interesting.
Well, we kind of knew that would happen.
Yeah. He had no business being in a speed duel. That's not his style. I think the jock got him up there and just kind of let him go, but that's not what he needed. Although he's usually third or, and when he runs well, he's usually third or second or fourth. He's not far off the pace.
You wouldn't describe him as pressing the pace like he was in the Kentucky Derby. He pressed it in the Derby. His other races, he's just kind of like 2 off of it, 2 legs off. Yeah. And I think to people asking, do you think they'll gun him? I don't. I think this race they'll sit him about 2 to 3 lengths off.
Well, there's only 8 horses, so it's a little different.
Yeah, the dynamics of the Kentucky Derby and what happens in the Kentucky Derby, trip wise, pace wise. You kind of draw a line through it and go back to what have they done in the other quote unquote normal races.
Yeah. And he has some good races in him.
Yeah.
Second in the Arkansas Derby, that's probably the best race he's ran. He was very good in that race. He was right there the whole way. He just doesn't have that kick to win it. He can stay with you, but he doesn't close. He just can't close it down. With Muth out, and you want to throw a horse in for like a superfecta or something, you might do him at a price.
I would prefer him over his stablemate. I think he's got more class. I think we kind of know he wants to go this far. And look, he gets Joel Rosario aboard, and he's the better of the 2 jockeys there as well. So I prefer the 7 Just Steel.
Oh, I do too
as well in this one. Yeah. Over the 6, I should say, Seize the Gray.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the last two here. We'll start with the Chad Brown runner, number 8, Tuscan Gold. And here is Chad Brown once again sitting here with a horse that could do it, right? He saved this horse for the Preakness. He scratched him out of the Peter Pan last weekend to run him in the Preakness because he's doing well. Thoughts on Tuscan Gold?
This is a sneaky one.
Mm-hmm.
Well rested, has, impressive maiden win, wasn't awful in the Louisiana Derby, losing by a length and 3/4. Yes, this one's a serious threat, I think. Very lightly raced. That's a little bit of an issue for me, but with the jockey trainer combination, I don't worry about that too much. This is one that'll be on my tickets. That is for sure. I think this one's a legitimate threat.
Yeah, this horse reminds me a whole lot of early voting for Chad Brown, who won this race. In what year was that? Let's see, Chad Brown, 2022 early voting won this race. And this one reminds me a lot of early voting. Tuscan Gold had a big maiden special weight win, and then went up, ran in a prep, got third, beating a length and 3/4. Of course, early voting, got second in the Wood, and then skipped the Derby and went right here to the Preakness. I think he'll run a huge race. I really do. I'll be completely. What's that?
At 8-1, no, he won't be 8-1. He'll
probably be like 5. Yeah.
I think this is one that if you want to take a chance on one as your favorite, as your pick, this might be the one to go with.
Yeah, spoiler alert here. I don't have a pick at this time because I honestly, Muth was a single in everything for me.
Absolutely.
Everything. And now I have to pretty much re-handicap the race. So basically, I've got all the handicapping done. I had the wagering plan. And then when Muth scratched, I've got to kind of go back to the drawing board for this race. And Tuscan Gold, to me, is definitely one of the big candidates for me to win, pick to win. And I'm certainly going to use him in everything. I think he is dangerous in the spot. So I'm taking a hard look at him. There's no doubt about it.
Me too. Yep. I really like him.
I'm very concerned about, well, not concerned. I say he's a huge contender for me.
Yep.
Huge contender. All right. Last one, number 9, Imagination here. The other Bob Baffert, who is now the only Bob Baffert. It's going to be very interesting to see what this horse does. 6 starts, 2 wins in 4 seconds. You watch his races, and there's no doubt he runs to the level of his competition.
Yes,
he gets in front, turning for home. He waits for a horse to come next to him, and then they just have a little battle. And if he wins the photo, he wins the race. If he loses the photo, he loses the race. You look at the Santa Anita Derby, there's no doubt Imagination's just kind of messing around out there.
He did.
Can they get him focused? Can they break that habit? Because if they can, I think he's serious. If they can't, he's not winning this race. I think that's all it is to me.
How do you get a horse to do that? I don't. That's. Just
I don't know. I think Bob Baffert would be one, if anybody, that could try to figure it out.
Yeah.
I remember on draft night, I really wanted this horse because he had ran second twice, but it's like, I see what he's doing. He's gluing next to another horse. And if he gets over that, he's going to be just fine. And so you go to the maiden on New Year's Day, and he won by a length and 3/4. And okay, I was like, part of me was like, okay, maybe he's over it. But the other part is, he totally was waiting on horses that day, but they were so bad they couldn't get to him. But he was just idling. He goes and takes on Maymoon next, and he was better than Maymoon. He just let him win, basically. Yeah. Then he takes on Wind Me Up, and he can barely put him away because he's running with him. Stronghold literally just passes this horse in the Santa Anita Derby, and then there goes Imagination. He gets out, and now he's ahead of him, and then Stronghold beats him to the wire. But if they win another 100 yards, Imagination may have pulled back ahead of him. So all of this, I'm talking in circles here, but all of this is saying, can he get over this habit?
Well, how many races is it going to take? I mean, I don't know. When you got a horse that's like that, what do you do? I mean, I'm sure they're going neck and neck in workouts and stuff and trying to get him to pull away. And if he won't do it, he won't do it. So, I mean, you want to throw your money on a horse that you're not sure is going to have that kick because you nailed it. If he does it, he's going to win. I really think he's good enough to win. with Muth out.
I think he turns for home with the lead, and if they
He
can get him
might.
to accelerate before another horse gets to him, I think he can beat him. Yeah.
Well, then the other question is, can he accelerate? Maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
He doesn't have that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you would think he would. And he's a very difficult one to pick to win.
Yep. I know.
I mean, when you look at this field of 8 now, the logical one to pick is the 5.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
He's done the most.
Yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So, but I'm not picking I just don't know how much juice he's got left. I don't know.
Most of the people in the chat are like, okay, yeah, Mystic Dan's going to be 3 to 5, 4 to 5, but I got to go against him. And I tend to lean that same direction. I'm not going to pick Mystic Dan to win. We've seen it. I mean,
feel like I don't know if he can do this back to back. I just don't know.
That's just it. And you know, there was some skepticism as soon as that race was over, of even from a guy in Kenny McPeak. We can say a lot of things about him, but he's a very aggressive trainer, and he usually like 2 weeks, no problem, we'll do it. You know, he was very hesitant to even kind of start the horse, which tells me he's not overly confident in this horse's ability to come back in 2 weeks.
Right. With him hesitating, that was weird for him. And, you know, it was odd that he didn't say, oh, yeah, we'll be there. If this horse is okay, we're going to be there because, he wants a chance at that Triple Crown. So, but I guarantee you, he sure is glad he entered him now with Muth down.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting to see.
I just don't think I can bet him at that low price.
Kevin B says Kenny called his one horse a gorilla the week prior to the race, and here has made 10 excuses pre-race. So he's talking about Torpedo Anna. He was all about Torpedo Anna. He was all about how great she was. And to his credit, this time around, it came to be. She really was. And I want to point out something else. In the Kentucky Oaks press conference, they asked him about running in the Preakness, and he said, yeah, that with Torpedo Anna. And he said, yeah, that does sound like a thing I might do. He said, well, we'll think about it. Well, of course, he wins the Kentucky Derby, so you're not running her now. But again, the point of it is, I think he likes Torpedo Anna better than he likes Mystic Dan. And I think you just have to listen to his comments. So, McPeak also, yes. JL says McPeak admitted he's already had a bad race off of a short break. It's hard to trust him here. Yep. And that's the thing. I don't think it's impossible Mystic Dan wins the race. I don't. But we have all these signs from a trainer who's usually pretty boastful about his horses, right? Kind of telling you, I don't know about this. And again, sometimes that's BS. They go out, they run well, they win. I think the thing is, now, if you want to back him, you're going to have to choke down a very short price.
Yes.
And that's when it gets hard.
That's when it gets tough.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and I don't mean this as a knock on McPeak, because he's having a lot of success all over the place with a lot of different horses. Are we holding it against him that that's who he is, and sometimes they run well and sometimes they don't? Are we holding that against him? I'm about ready to stop doing that with him.
They have a hard time when McPeak gets hot, and it happens a lot. He'll get hot and he'll win a bunch.
He's good.
He'll win a bunch of races, and then the next starts for all of them, they don't run quite as well.
I know. We've seen it.
And that's the thing. Yeah, we are holding that against him, but we probably should be holding that against him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And at a short price, I just don't have enough confidence in him, not McPeak, but in the horse. Yeah. I just don't coming back. And like Mark said, I really agree with Mark. He had a dream trip. I mean, he just stayed on that rail. The only problem he had was when he accelerated and headed for home. He got squeezed by the horse beside him, but he got through there and kept running, which is very impressive. That's the only issue he had. He just sat there perfectly.
You know, another thing to kind of talk about here, this horse has not put 2 races in a row together. He has not won 2 straight races. Forget about the time between.
Yeah.
Never in his career has he won 2
No.
straight times.
And
Look at this. Yeah, he looks a lot like him when you look at his resume.
Yeah.
Huge race, not so good. The only difference is his losses aren't, oh my God, he was awful type losses, right? They were just like, yeah, he was just kind of flat, right?
Yeah.
So look, I think that at the end of the day, I think we're more likely to see an Arkansas Derby type performance from him, which was okay, but
it wasn't that good though.
Nothing that can win the Preakness. Yeah.
No, I think I'm not going to pick him. I'm just not because that price is going to be very, very short.
Mm-hmm.
And these new shooters, the 8 and the 9, I think are very, very dangerous.
Yep.
And, Catching Freedom, if he's got enough in his bones, coming off of that, I think he can win it. I do.
Yep. So we'll kind of wrap it up with this. I do not have an official pick yet. Once we get off the air, I will re-handicap and have an official pick and give that official pick over to Magic so he can edit the Preakness video where I picked Muth. I think for me, I'm leaning 8 or 9. I'm going to go the 8 or 9 on top in this spot. It's going to be one of those two. Haven't decided yet. I don't think Catching Freedom. I just can't do it. I kind of want to, but I think he's more of an underneath horse. That may come back to bite me, but I am going to go 8 or 9, Tuscan Gold or Imagination. Do you have any thoughts? I know you had Muth on top 2. This is news.
Yeah,
this morning.
I'm like you. I'm fluctuating. I had in the original, I had Muth first. I had Catching Freedom second. And I had Imagination third. And then I had Mystic Dan fourth. Mm-hmm. That's what I had in the beginning. So I'm throwing Tuscan Gold in there now. It's going to be between Imagination and Catching Freedom for me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can go with Imagination. I don't know. I don't know.
I think Catching Freedom, I think he's the safest pick, if that makes sense. Like what I mean by that, I guess, is I think you know what you're going to get out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Even like with Tuscan Gold, you don't know if he's this level. You're not sure, although he did run just behind Catching Freedom. So maybe you do know. Imagination, you don't know if he's going to hang with horses again or what, but Catching Freedom, okay, you may talk me into it. I don't know. I'm between the 3, the 8, and the 9. How about that?
I am too. I just don't trust Imagination. It's either he won't do it or he can't do it, but he hasn't done it, and that's the thing.
I know.
So
I know.
And Catching Freedom has ran well a couple of times. So
yeah, he's coming back on that 2 weeks as well, though. That's the thing.
I know, and that's the other issue.
Yeah, JL's mentioning that David Oragona has mentioned that Catching Freedom can sit closer. I'll go ahead and put that up there now, actually. I totally agree, and I don't really think you have to make that much of a case for it. He had, like, before the Louisiana Derby, he did sit closer. He was in a pretty good spot in a lot of his races, and then you just kind of look at the Louisiana Derby. He just broke flat-footed as hell. And look, he drew the 4-hole in Kentucky Derby. So it's like, what are you going to do? Like, you drew the 4, you don't break particularly fast, you're probably going to get shuffled back. So I agree. I think he can sit closer. I don't think he has to make it. He's not Sierra Leone, I guess, where Sierra Leone, it just feels like that's where he has to be.
Yeah.
Catching Freedom, I don't think he has to be, back of the pack. So
I don't either. I think it's going to be an interesting thing, and I don't think Cox would put this horse in this race if he didn't think he could win.
Mm-hmm. 3, 8, 9 Exactabox could be good with Mystic Dan out. Well, that's the good news. I think if you're going to say I'm going to try to throw Mystic Dan out of stuff, you don't have to get real creative underneath to make it pay a decent amount. And you could, even if you go try and add one of the Lucas horses in there, maybe, or even an Uncle Heavy, and just try to really blow it up.
Yeah.
I think the thing about Mystic Dan, if you're going to go against him, you might as well totally go against him, kind of like what Mark laid out there, because we've seen it when he doesn't win, he hasn't ran all that well. Like I said, he did get third in the Arkansas Derby, but he was well beaten in that race. I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. So I don't know that, and this another thing for Catching Freedom. He beat Mystic Dan pretty easily in the Smarty Jones Stakes when they faced each other. So another feather in his cap, I guess, if you're going to go that way. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Well, any final thoughts? I got to think about it.
Yeah, I do too. I can't do it yet. It broke too soon, or it hasn't been out there. The information hasn't been out there that long.
Yeah. Like I said, the other races I pretty much got a handle on, pretty much done, just finalizing stuff up. And of course, waiting on everybody else to send top four so we can get the Derby or the Preakness Betting Bible out for you guys. But I think the one problem, other than just, specifically what am I going to do in race 13, all my multi races that have race 13 in them are all effed. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to have to do some major reworking of those. And that's what's going to take the most time. So, because in the multis, anything that had race 13 in it, I was just going to single Muth and then build all around. Well, that you talk about totally flipping, because I'm not going to single in this race now.
No.
So
there's no way.
Yeah. So you just got to find a single elsewhere, I guess. So that's a job for today. No doubt about it. So once we get off here, I will do that. All right. You ready to go sports?
Let's do it.
All right. Hold on. What was this thing? This card is hard because I have no clue which races stay on if all come off. I'm not going to guarantee you because it is Pimlico. I would say if this was Churchill or Naira on a really big day, Gulfstream on a really big day, I could guarantee you, Keeneland on a really big day, we'll throw that out there. I could guarantee you the major stakes races on the turf would stay on. So like the 11th and the 12th, I guarantee you would be on. Pimlico, I'm not quite sure. I would, here's my best guess at it, guys. Race 1 will be off. Race 2 will be off. This is if they get the projected amount of rain. Race 1 and 2, race 5 will come off, and I think they'll try to run the rest of them on. So 1, 2, and 5. It would be my guess. And then 7, 9, 11, and 12 would stay on. That would be my guess on that. But hopefully we don't get a lot of rain and that's not the case. But I would just be mindful. All the non-stakes races, I would imagine, will come off if we do get that rain. Okay, let's get to sports. Hockey or basketball? What do you want to do first?
Well, they're both crazy. So hockey, holy cow. It's nuts, isn't it?
We'll start with hockey. So I got the brackets up here now, or the bracket, I should say, up here now. So here's what I'll say. Betting first period unders are a lot easier than trying to predict these who's going to win these games. So
we knew this was going to be impossible.
I mean, the first period unders have been money. Consistent money. Everything else has been wild.
Nuts.
I think this is the most surprising one of all. We'll start out on top. Dallas, Colorado.
Yes.
Dallas has made Colorado look stupid.
They have.
And really,
that's after blowing game 1.
That's what I was getting ready to say. This should have been a 4-game sweep. They should have swept them. And I think they're gonna basically win 4-1 because I don't think they're losing game 5 tonight. But thoughts on this? I mean, this has been a wild series.
Well, I mean, I've said all along, Dallas is really, really good. They're solid everywhere, but I didn't think there's just always with Dallas, they're very, very consistent. They're great in the regular season. They don't have those superstars, They just got solid players and a great goaltender. And they've just played extremely well. And they have just shut down Colorado. And this was after blowing game 1. And you thought, wow, they're in big trouble. But they went out to Colorado and they didn't have trouble at all. So huge game tonight. You don't want to have to go back for that game 6 to Colorado. I'm with you. I think they win tonight. but I've thought that about a couple of other teams so far, and they haven't got it done yet either. So,
Well, we'll talk about those in a minute, but you're right. Closing out series has not been easy for some of these teams, and we'll talk about it in the East in just a second. But yeah, I think the series is over. Colorado looks like shit, and I think Dallas. I mean, what can you really say? I mean, they have just been fantastic in the series. Just fantastic.
They're good.
Yeah. Jason says NHL playoffs are kicked my ass worse than the Derby did. If you're trying to pick the winner of these games, yeah, it's impossible. So, and yeah, Dennis did say that Ottinger reminds him of Marty Brodeur in a way. But yeah, still a very surprising. But yeah, Ottinger is definitely the best goalie left in the Western Conference. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah. So, I mean, do we both agree you think Dallas is a cinch to win the series?
Oh, I think so. They're up 3-1. They need to win this game tonight. You don't want this going back to Colorado with the Avalanche having any kind of momentum, but it's hard. I don't see Dallas losing 3 games in a row. I just don't see it. So I think if I was a Dallas fan, though, I'd want to end this puppy tonight. I would not want to go back to Denver. But yes, I think they're going to win it.
All right, let's go Vancouver, Edmonton here. This almost feels like the JV of the 4-4 series. These two teams, I don't know. Edmonton gets a big time win to tie that series up at 2 last night. It's a coin flip at this point. I know Edmonton's going to be the favorites because they're kind of that public money team, but to me, Vancouver's played just as well, if not better. What do you think about what's going to happen in the last 3 games of this one?
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. Their defense is not consistent. The Edmonton defense isn't, and they do have the stars. They have the names, and that's why they're favored in almost all of these games. But you're right. Vancouver has gone toe-to-toe with them. It's a 2-2 series. How do you pick the game 5? I don't know. Either one of them can win this. I think Vancouver's a little more steady than Edmonton. And I think the winner of game 5 obviously is going to win the series. But I don't know who I'm going to pick. It's going to be tough.
Vancouver for me.
Yeah, I probably will too, because they're the steadiest.
Mm-hmm.
They play the same. So the Oilers defensively are just not good enough, I don't think.
It's the same story. Kevin B saying that, Edmonton needs a goalie. Dennis saying they need to play better defense. I mean, this is what we say every time in the playoffs for these guys. And it's like, when are you going to learn? You got to have it. Like you cannot fake having a goalie. It's never going to work. You got to have one. So look, I really believe Vancouver. I don't think they're great, but I just think they are the more solid, well-rounded team. I think they get through. And I think whoever wins the series, I think Dallas will beat them. So whoever it is, we'll see. But
here's the key, though.
Okay.
I agree with you. If Dallas wins tonight, if that thing stretches on and it may go to 7 games, they're going to be exhausted coming into this. Depending on the Vancouver Edmonton, it may go 7 games as well. So, yeah, I agree with you. I have been worried about Dallas maybe being a little fatigued coming out of these first 2 series. But if they can get this one tonight, they're going to have a little rest. And that would be crucial for them, because that first round series against Vegas took everything they had to win that.
Yeah.
And if Colorado should happen to win tonight and then stretch it into and win in game 6, then you got the same thing with Dallas. So I'm agreeing. I think they're the best team left in the West for sure, but they got to get that win. They got to get that 4th win first.
I want to chime in before we go to the Eastern Conference. Joseph says the Adirondack Thunder in Glen Falls, New York, win game 6, 5-1, and take the series on to the next team. I'm not sure what that is, but congratulations to the Adirondack Thunder. I love the name. And Glens Falls, a great, great place up in upstate New York. About 30 minutes from Saratoga, probably, maybe 25. All right, let's go to the Eastern Conference now. Florida and Boston. It is now 3-2. The Bruins fight back. They win game 5 on the road in Florida. Hell of a game. Hell of a game. Can Boston force a game 7? Can they do to Florida what Florida did to them last year and come back from 3-1? this has been a great series. It just hasn't gone exactly how we thought it would.
No, it hasn't. And yeah, I thought Florida would win last night. I did, and close it out. Boston's, I've said it a lot of times, they got guts. They're hard to beat. You got to beat them. You know, they're not. They play about the same way all the time. Very easily could have won Game 4. You know, got a terrible no call in that one. They probably would have won that game. You probably would have.
Well, it was for people who missed it, and Kevin's bringing it up. The score was 2-1. Boston was ahead, and one of the Florida players cross-checked a Boston player into Swayman, the Boston goalie, and scored a goal right after he'd shoved the player into the goalie, so the goalie couldn't make a move. Watching the game, the announcers had already assumed it wasn't going to be a goal. Everything was, it's like, okay, it's still going to be 2-1. There's no doubt. And then they gave him the goal, and they kept it up, and it was 2-2. And now they ended up losing that game. But that was a big time. Like, what are we doing? Yeah,
a terrible no call, and it cost them a game probably. You never know, but you can't. You got to make that call. I mean, I don't understand it.
Yeah,
but then for them to get over that and go back and win Game 5 in Miami last night, or wherever it is in South Florida, it's a big time win. It showed a lot of guts. So you can't count them out.
I saw this as well. Kevin B said the official press release was that Swayman was not impacted by the shove at making the save. He literally got knocked down. So I don't know what they were thinking there.
Crazy.
And Heather and I were watching it, and I know you were too. I texted you, and she's like, well, that's obvious. That's goaltender interference. There's no doubt. I was like, well, yeah, it's obvious. And then unbelievable, they don't call it. So you're right. The series really should have been 2-2 heading back to Florida. But it wasn't. So, but still, Boston in here with a shot.
Yeah, they do.
Do you think they can pull it off?
No.
I don't either.
I don't think they're quite good enough.
I think they might get it to the 7th game, though.
Yeah, it's possible. I think I'm going to pick Florida, though.
Are you in Game 6? Okay. Yeah. Well, we're both on Florida as well. And then finally, New York and Carolina, another one. The Rangers could not close it out. So it's now 3-2. It's now back in Carolina. It's going to be wild in Carolina tomorrow night as they try to push this to a Game 7 after getting behind 3-0. It's another series. It's a great series. It hasn't went like we thought, but it's a great series. What do you think? Can the Hurricanes come back from 3-0 and win the series?
I don't know. The Rangers were up 3-0, but Carolina could have easily been up 3-0. I mean,
that's kind of the thing. It was a 3-0 series that didn't feel at all like a 3-0 series.
Every game was nip and tuck, and the Rangers had somehow pulled it out. Then they lost the 4th game, and they got smoked last night after taking a 1-0 lead. Very impressive by Carolina. Carolina's a very, very good team. It's a little bit underrated nationally. Going to be a tremendous game, no doubt about it. That place is going to be crazy. If I was a Rangers fan, I'd be worried. You'd never want to get to a Game 7. Winner take all. Anything can happen in a Game 7. So you want to end that thing. It's tomorrow night, I think. You want to end it. But these games, this series is so hard to predict because they're the same teams. They're just identical pretty much. The Rangers have had a little bit better goalie play, but the Carolina goalie has not been bad. So, it's I'm going to go with the Rangers tomorrow night because they have a little bit of an edge at goal, but I wouldn't bet very much money on it for sure. Probably the under in the first period is the way to go.
That'll be where I'm going 1,000%. So I will be betting that. I think Carolina's winning.
It's the Stars and the Avalanche tonight.
What's that?
I think I went with the Stars and the Avalanche game in the under tonight.
Yeah, I didn't.
They haven't been scoring a lot of goals in
that. They haven't. Yep, I can't argue with it. I think the Rangers are going to win this series. I think it is going to go 7 games, though. I think Rangers win in 7. I think it'll be very interesting if it does go to that 7th game. All the pressure then all of a sudden will be on the Rangers. okay, who's winning the cup? If you had it, forget about the odds. Who do you
Oh
think's
my
winning
God.
this?
This changes every week.
Yep.
Last week it was Colorado. Now none of us are thinking they're even going to win tonight.
So I have 12-1 on Dallas. This is tickets I bet. 12-1 on Dallas and 13-1 on Colorado. Colorado seems dead, but Dallas at 12-1 feels great.
That bet looks fantastic.
Yeah, I made that bet when it was 2-1. Vegas was up in the series.
Yeah,
so,
that's the bet.
Yeah,
that's gold.
However, now they are pretty much just a tick below 5-2. They're plus 230 right now. So
yeah.
Who do you think without the odds? I mean, the Florida Panthers, I still think are the most likely winners
of the cup.
Yep.
I don't know. I think Dallas is.
Okay.
I think Florida's is the likely opponent to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the Rangers have enough scoring. I don't think Carolina does either. I just think Florida's a little bit better as far as being able. They're more rounded. They can do a lot of things. Florida, Dallas, what a series that would be. It's going to be really good. But I'm going Dallas to win it all.
Okay, we'll go live odds right now. Dallas is plus 230. Florida Panthers plus 290. Edmonton Oilers plus 460. New York Rangers plus 490. Carolina plus 900. And then the Canucks plus 1900. Boston plus 2700. And now the Avalanche plus 3300. Live odds right
That's
now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. So Kevin B says he would take a flyer on Carolina if it was big enough. I don't know if plus 900 is big enough for you or not.
It's pretty good though. 900 is pretty good, and I don't think that's a bad one.
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. I think you need a little bit more than that on him, but you probably could have got it a couple days ago. Actually.
And what's Vancouver? 1900.
Yeah, 1900 for Vancouver.
I think they beat Edmonton. I think they might get to the finals, and if they do, they have a shot. So.
Yeah, I mean, if they can beat Edmonton plus 1900 is decent. It's decent enough for sure. But again, they're going to be big underdogs to do it. All right, let's go to the NBA here. We'll do this one. We'll talk about the Thunder first because that's the only one I care about. The Thunder. Wow, what a big time win in Game 4. They looked dead, and
yes, they did. I was
dead.
Giving up.
They were done. And they came back and won. They even this thing up at 2. I'm with Dennis. It's gross. Even watching the Thunder, I cannot get fully into it because it's boring. But what do you think? I think that was the one they needed.
I do too.
I think they're going to win the series now. But what about you?
I do too, but I'm a little cautious. They haven't been just really impressive. So that's one though that they stole pretty much. And you got to give them credit. They hung in there and they made plays. They defended really well. So, yeah, I like them to go ahead. This is huge tonight. They got to get this one. You cannot lose this game tonight at home. You have to win it.
Yep.
And they should.
Yeah.
The other series, man, what the hell? How do you figure this one? The Timberwolves go to Denver, win 2, very easy. And then they go home and they lose 2. I mean, it's just like a flip-flop. And now the Nuggets are taking command. So you got to go with the Nuggets and the other one. After the first 2 games of the Timberwolves, I thought, man, this team they're gonna win this against the defending champs and probably come out of the West. And then suddenly Denver's looked like a different team. Jamal Murray has been unbelievable. And they flexed their muscles, and that's why they're the defending champs. They're pretty good.
That's right. I totally agree with everything you said. I thought this series was over, and I was huge on the Timberwolves coming into the series. And then they won the first 2 games, and boy, did I feel smart. Well, it's totally fallen apart now. So they might force a Game 7. They might get back to Denver, but I think Denver gets it done. And I think the Oklahoma City series might go 7 as well. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they go 7.
I wouldn't either. They better get this one tonight. OKC better.
Yes. If they lose tonight, forget it. I agree with that. All right, Celtics and the Cavs. Celtics up 3-1. I mean, this is where it gets bad. If you want to mouth the Western Conference, yeah, okay, that's fine, but it's decent. This sucks. These teams are awful.
Yeah.
Other than the Celtics, I mean, no shot for the Cavs, right?
No.
Okay.
The only thing you bet there is the point spread.
Yeah, there are some large ones for sure.
That's 14, I think, tonight. Okay, so you look at that, and 14's a lot. But it's in Boston. And now it's 15 and a half. It's up to 15 and a half. So you got a playoff game where the spread is 15 and a half. That's just tells you all you want to know.
Yep. I agree. All right. Pacers and the Knicks. The Knicks now lead 3-2. They're kind of trading off wins here. I don't think either one of these teams are great either. I think the Knicks just kind of by default are going to win this thing. But
yeah,
what about you?
I picked the Pacers last night. They didn't show up.
No.
After beating them like 40. And it wasn't an overreaction on my part because the Knicks are battered. They're beat up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, the longer the series went, more games these guys are playing, the more minutes they're playing, they're piling up on them. And I just thought, they got them right where they want them. And then they just got thrashed last night. So anytime I get on the Pacers, they let me down. And that was just brutal last night. They had the Knicks right where they wanted them and just didn't play well. But the Knicks are beat up. They got to go to Indiana and win game 6, or it goes back to game 7. Indiana's a different team at home, but I think the Knicks are like you said are going to win it, and that sets up a old time series between Boston and the Knicks. But I don't think the Knicks have got enough to come out of there.
It's kind of
injuries.
It's kind of cool to see that Knicks logo back in the playoffs. At least I know they've been in the playoffs, but actually winning, it's nice. But yeah, you're right. I don't think that's going to happen with Boston. So, all right, here are the live odds now to win the NBA championship here with the NBA. Boston is minus 135. So they're now minus 135. The Denver Nuggets plus 260. The Oklahoma City Thunder plus 800. Dallas Mavericks plus 1,500. Minnesota Timberwolves plus 1,700. New York Knicks plus 2,100. Let's see. Pacers are plus 8,500. Holy cow. How many zeros is that? Is that plus 100,000? The Cleveland Cavaliers are plus 100,000 right now to win the NBA.
Wow.
Go bet $1. Who cares?
Yeah. Just go bet $1 on that. What the heck? Oh, my goodness. Kevin B says the Celtics minus 135 is value because they are already in the finals. That is true.
Yeah.
They have the best chance of all the teams to make the finals. So you've already got them in there at minus 135. So that's a good point, Kevin. I like the Nuggets at plus 260. Is that what it was? 260?
Yes, plus 260 on the Nuggets. Yeah.
I think they're going to come out of the West.
Which, by the way, I cannot remember, but the Nuggets were a huge price the last time we did this show.
Oh yeah, because they were down 2-0.
Yeah.
And they were terrible.
I still just can't bet minus 135 on anybody. I just can't do it. So
no, there's too many crazy things that can happen because I can't bet 135 because I don't think they're going to win it.
Yeah. So I would lean what you're saying. Take the plus money on the Nuggets and hope. I'm not betting Oklahoma City. I don't think they can do it.
I don't think they're quite mature enough yet to do it.
Honestly, and even if they win the series against Dallas, I think it kind of has exposed them that they're not quite good enough.
They're not quite there yet. And, the other way you might look, but Dallas was what, 900?
Dallas is plus 1,500.
1,500. They might still beat the Nuggets or the Thunder.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But I don't think they can beat the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And then I don't think they could beat Boston. So I can't go there. I've got to go with, if I'm going to pick one, I got to have some plus money. So I'd have to go with the Nuggets at this point.
All right.
I just don't think the East is very good. Celtics have had a cakewalk all year. They are solid. No doubt about it. They're a good team. But I just don't. I just can't bet them.
You can also take Boston minus 135 versus the field. You get everybody else at plus 105. To me, the way this is shaken out, I wouldn't do that. I would just take the Nuggets at a much better price. And
definitely.
Hope your opinion's right. And
yeah.
Or really, you could take the Thunder at plus 800.
Yeah.
I mean, that
would be my third pick.
Awful.
I mean, the Nuggets first, Thunder second. So I should.
You'd be better off betting them both and hoping, okay, it's one of those two teams, than take the field at plus 105, because the field at this point wouldn't get you much, right? Like you're cutting down your price to get the Knicks or the T-Wolves or the Mavericks.
Yeah.
You know, you could say Pacers and Cleveland obviously as well. So yeah.
No.
I don't know. All right.
I would, the thing about the Thunder, I think they can beat Boston. I do. But I don't think they can beat the Nuggets. That's the thing.
I don't either.
I just don't think they can beat the Nuggets, or I would take the Thunder. I think they can beat. I think they're going to close out the Mavericks. I think if they got to the finals, they could beat the Celtics, but I don't think they're going to beat the Nuggets.
Yeah, I think if Oklahoma City, just from a fan standpoint, if they can beat the Mavericks, and Oklahoma City versus Dallas, that's a big time rivalry.
Oh, it is.
Maybe it's not an old school history of NBA basketball rivalry, but Oklahoma City hates Dallas and Dallas hates Oklahoma City. So, I mean, as far as two cities go, Oklahoma City definitely has a huge inferiority complex when it comes to Dallas.
Oh, it does.
For good reason. So, but that would be huge for the Thunder to beat them. Huge. If they go to the finals or the Western Conference Finals and they lose to Denver, it's a good season in my opinion. Like,
oh, definitely
getting to the finals is a good season for Oklahoma City, for as bad as they've been, after Durant and Westbrook finally both left. Yeah. So breaking news here. Muth is scratched from the Preakness Stakes, guys. He's out of it. So Joseph breaking the news with the Adirondack Thunder, and now breaking the news, Muth scratched from the Preakness. All right, Papa Dude, any final thoughts before we get off here?
How are you doing on your baseball? Are you still getting some right?
Oh yeah, baseball's been good so far.
Really? That's good.
I did, got the Cardinals last night. I did miss. Who did I miss? What day is it? Today's Wednesday. Monday I missed one. I can't remember who it was. Oh, I played the Rangers. Played the Rangers. They're bad right now. They're hurt. But yeah, doing pretty good. The Cubs have been good to me. The Orioles have been good to me. So those are kind of the two teams that are keeping me going.
Well.
Mike Somich and I are on the hunt to find a baseball bet equivalent to the first period under in the NHL. Okay. We talked about this for a long time. And okay, so this is a sports betting show, so this is a good spot for it, right? We both, meaning Somich and I know you included, were having trouble picking the right team to win a lot of these hockey games, right?
Yes.
But he's like, the first period unders have been so good that I'm ahead for the playoffs, even though I've got a losing record with games with head-to-head matchup picking games.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's like the dream, right? That you have this bet you can always fall back on. And when you're hot with picking the right side, you're going crazy. And when you go a little bit cold picking the right side, you're either treading water or you're even a little bit ahead because you've got this, just the bet that you go to, it's almost like a slump buster type of bet. Even he's like, we have to find a baseball bet equivalent to that, because he goes, it's such a long season, 162 games. You're going to get hot picking sides, you're going to get colder picking sides, but if you have that stabilizer, that's really going to help. So we are searching for that.
Well, a couple of guys are saying first inning, no runs.
No, it won't work because the odds are crazy for the no. Like the no runs first innings, like minus 250. If you could get minus 120 on no runs first inning, that would be the equivalent.
Okay.
But and this is the other. I think the first 5 under though are more equivalent than the first, because anything can happen the first 10 minutes. Well, the first 5 under, it's juiced to the pitching matchup, one side or the other, a little bit too much. Like when you look at a first period under in a hockey game, it's not going to ever get juiced more than like minus 120 to one side. So you might get plus 110 to minus 120. Like that's kind of this moving, floating scale. First 5 unders are not quite that. And it's also, we're talking about a third of the game versus half the game. So we haven't quite found it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, baseball's tough.
Yeah.
It really is.
But we were talking, it's like, okay, we've exposed something with, and again, you're not going to hit all of them. I'm not sitting here saying you hit them all, but you've exposed something that is kind of a go-to bet. What is it in the other sports? And we just have not found it in any of the other sports. We talk about basketball. It's like, yeah, it's just not there. Baseball, Somich and I both kind of feel like hockey betting and baseball betting, it's kind of the same. There's a lot of variance. You can catch a plus money price they really shouldn't be underdogs, or they shouldn't be that heavy of underdogs. So it's like, there's got to be something, but we just haven't got it yet.
Yeah.
So any thoughts from you?
No, baseball's tough. I struggle.
Well, the nature of baseball betting and hockey regular season and playoff betting, really for that matter, is you're going to go through ebbs and flows of it. Listen, the Yankees are playing the Twins in Minnesota on a Wednesday night. There isn't any logic to it. Like anything could happen tonight, right? Like I took the Yankees plus 110 because they were plus 110, but I mean, it's whatever, right?
Minnesota's pretty good. Minnesota can win.
They can beat them. The Yankees could win 12-0. Minnesota could win 12-0.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yep.
We'll figure it out.
It's tough.
You can look. Kevin says you can look at pitching prop strikeouts and do ramp style. Yeah, I don't like the ramp style bets. I don't like those very well. So, Yankee game overs are nice. Yeah, I think it did go under last night though because the Twins didn't hold up their end of the bargain. But Yankees kind of they've been hitting lately. So Stroman versus I believe, I think Lopez is on the mound maybe is that right? It's gonna be a good game tonight.
Yankees tonight.
It's
who they playing?
Stroman and Lopez, I think, is on the mound for the Twins. Let me see.
Yeah, I got it. It is.
Yeah, Lopez. Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, see, that's a toss-up game.
Well, it is a toss-up game, but the Yankees are a plus money price. So
you got to take the Yankees at plus 117.
Yeah.
You got the Cubs tonight at plus 160.
Yeah, but look who they're playing.
I know.
I have had all kinds of success with Javier Assad, though.
I know.
That has been really, really good for me. They're never priced where they should be when he pitches. And I don't understand why, but good game going on right now. If you want to get involved, the Orioles and the Blue Jays are playing. Kyle Bradish on the mound against Kikuchi. UC Kikuchi for the Blue Jays. 1-0 Orioles early, but that'll be a good game.
Here's another one I thought about tonight. The Giants are plus 125. They got Webb against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are undecided on theirs.
Yeah.
Webb's pretty good.
I don't really want to fade the Dodgers. That's the flip side of it.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. I also looked at the Reds here. Andrew Abbott on the mound against Fott. I think the Reds at plus 130 make a little bit of sense.
How about the Red Sox? They're favored tonight against Washington. And it's a big favorite.
Yeah.
They are playing better.
The Sox are playing a lot better.
Yep. So they're kind of risky.
But I wouldn't take them at a short price, no.
That's minus 165, and you get Washington at plus 140.
I would take Washington. Washington's not bad.
No, they're not. It's not a bad bet.
Yeah. I don't think that'd be bad. I thought about this one too. Bradley for the Rays tonight at plus money in Boston. Boston.
You're not getting enough though.
No, I don't think I did the exact same thing. I thought, I don't know that I want to do plus 110.
No.
But if you want to do it, I would side with the Rays. It was a great game last night in Boston, an extra inning win the Red Sox last night. So,
yeah.
there was one other one I wanted to. Kevin mentioned it. The Cardinals looking for the sweep tonight in Anaheim, taking on the Angels. Lance Lynn against Griffin. Canning, terrible. Can the Cardinals sweep anybody? That's the question. That's why I didn't go with them. They are the favorites. Minus 125 is not a bad price to lay if you want to do it. So
not a bad bet either.
No, I don't think it's bad. Can they win? Well, that would be 4 in a row if they won.
Yeah, it would.
That would be incredible. They tried to lose last night, but were able to win. So the Orioles were minus 130. I took the Orioles early. I thought that was a decent enough price. So we'll see what happens. All right. Anything else, or are you ready to go?
I don't think I've got anything.
All right. We're going to get out of here. We will see what happens tonight in baseball and in hockey, and we'll get to handicap it again. We got to head out, do the betting Bible now. I'll be working on that the rest of the day. As Lashadi said, looking forward to the new betting Bible. Yeah, brand new look. It's cool. I really, really like it. We did have one comment on our YouTube worried about the bankroll kind of being gone. It's kind of still there with our race analysis. We'll kind of tell you what we're thinking with your bankroll. We're just not going to put, numbers attached to it because everybody's just kind of got a different idea of what they want to bet. And so if you list $100 bet, that may be nothing for some people, and that may be way more than some people should be wagering. So we kind of took the numbers out of it, but we'll still have analysis of how we think you need to bet this race. So don't worry about, the bankroll aspect of it being gone. It's not really gone. It's just reworded to kind of suit everybody's needs. So a lot more coverage on the betting Bible. And like I said, they're getting close to getting completed. Probably out late tonight or tomorrow morning. Maybe list units. I think that's an idea we could do. I think we're kind of going to do something similar to that in the race analysis. So, I've already thought about it because the bankroll idea I think was a good one, but it just got to be too much. I don't know. I was just getting a lot of emails like, "What? I don't have this much money," or "I bought this thinking I was going to get some real advice." Well, it's like, well, I don't structure it for somebody that has $10,000 in their hand, so it was causing some issues. Units would be a good thing. I think that's something we might do. And I know, Dennis, it's kind of weird, right? When you get into specifics, like telling people exactly how much money they should be betting, you kind of get into a weird situation. So we've kind of tried to blend a happy medium of the two. I think you guys will really like it. So anyway, all right, that's it. We're out.
All right.
We'll be back next week for this show. We'll be back all day tomorrow on this channel as we cover the Preakness. And by tomorrow, I will have answers for at least who I'm picking in the Preakness. So that'll be good. So, all right, guys, we will see you right back here tomorrow, and we'll see you right back here for this show next week.
This is due to Bet Sports.